The mission of recording in progress. Got it. The mission of a Toastmaster Club, it's also in the chat too. The mission of a Toastmaster Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. At this time, I'd like to return control to our wonderful president, and that would be Toastmaster Jelena Verkler, our president.
Yes, thank you, Artemis. So I just want to say welcome to all of our guests, our area director, our guest speaker, and to all of the members of our MetroMasters Toastmasters Club. We are so happy to have you here at our open house meeting. My name is Jelena Verkler. I am president of MetroMasters. Before we begin, we ask that all of our members please add your meeting role to your name on Zoom. And any guests, please put your name and contact information into the chat so that we may follow up with you. Artemis was so kind to read our mission statement, which is also posted into the chat. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the longest standing member of MetroMasters, our treasurer and secretary and retiree from BCBSM, Toastmaster Karen Baird.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I am the MC of tonight's meeting, or as we like to call it, the Toastmaster of the Day. So I placed that title after my name on the Zoom. Today, with so many people joining us as guests, I would like to invite our Toastmaster, Erilyn Alford, to just give us a brief explanation of what is Toastmasters. So Erilyn, can you please give us an explanation?
Thank you, Toastmaster Karen. So at its most basic, Toastmasters is where club members help each other develop their communication skills. We follow a proven method of learning and practicing. We speak, we provide and receive feedback. We also develop our leadership skills by filling meeting roles, acting as club officers. We follow protocols with introductions and timing so that we develop the habits of a confident professional speaker. But beyond the club, there are opportunities to compete in contests, go to conferences, network, and become area or district officers. Thank you, Toastmaster Karen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Erilyn Alford. You may notice that we have a certain formalities that we use in a Toastmaster meeting. We refer to each other by titles. You might hear them say Toastmaster Baird, or if I were asking for dues, they might say Madam Treasurer. And we do that just to develop those skills of being at a professional meeting where there are officers present. And if you were ever at a meeting with a vice president in your company or with an elected official, then you might want to be using that habit of referring to them as Vice President Smith or Mayor Taylor. So that's what we do here at Toastmasters. We train ourselves to use professional habits for professional meetings. Now, at every Toastmasters meeting, we do have an agenda, and we have roles that people are supposed to fill within a certain time frame. Again, it's professionalism to make that into a habit. So as we go along, I'll ask people who are on today's agenda to explain their roles. I'm the Toastmaster of the day, so I'm the MC. And in this role, which I've done many times, I've learned how to lead a meeting and how to keep it on track, even if surprises happen. How many times has it happened to you at a meeting? We always have a word master. So I'll ask our Toastmaster, Dottie Hamilton, to introduce herself and to explain the purpose of Wordmaster, and then to give us our word of the day. Toastmaster Hamilton.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baird. Dottie Hamilton, Wordmaster of the Day. what we do is we incorporate a word in our speech tonight. If anyone uses that word during the meeting, we will show our appreciation and give them virtual applause, such as that. Now, because we learn different words, it helps us to increase our vocabulary. So I have placed in the chat the word for the day: perfunctory, an adjective, an action done quickly and carelessly, showing a lack of interest in what is being done. Sentence: she gave the list only a perfunctory glance. So here, I'm going to incorporate the sentence. At Toastmasters, we make a conscious effort in the roles we are assuming so that no one has a perfunctory attitude in what we do. Thank you, Toastmaster Baird.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hamilton. Before we move on, I would like to introduce a few members of our Toastmaster Club. I especially want to introduce the members who don't have a speaking role tonight, so that everybody gets an opportunity. That's what we do in our Toastmasters Club. We make sure everybody has an opportunity to participate. So tonight I would like to ask Toastmaster Valerie Milton, if you could introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and tell us something that you've learned or that you like about Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bird. I have been with Toastmasters since October of last year. I joined Toastmaster to increase my impromptu speaking skills. I do presentations at work frequently, but I need to improve impromptu speaking. So I've learned how to do that. I'm learning still how to do that through Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Milton. I would like to call forward, even though she has already spoken a bit, I would like to call forward our president, President Jelena Verkler, who's acting as our timer today, and ask her to introduce herself and let us know about your Toastmasters experience over this past year.
Yeah, so I've been in Toastmasters for about a year now, and what motivated me to join was this intense anxiety surrounding public speaking. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the phrase, anything you do makes you better at doing it. And Toastmasters has given me so many occasions to speak in front of an audience that it barely phases me anymore, to the point that I actually competed in multiple speech competitions this year, which is something that I would have deemed impossible just a year ago. I've also learned so much about speech composition and delivery. I've really cut down on my use of filler words. I've received positive feedback from my leaders at Blue Cross and had the opportunity to develop leadership skills. But I think what I love most about Toastmasters, and particularly this club, is the community we foster here in our group and the support and feedback that we provide each other.
Thank you, Toastmaster Verkler. Wow, that's great. We've seen so much progress of our new members, people who've joined within the last year, and I just applaud the things that I'm seeing. Are there any other club members who would like to introduce themselves at this time? See, no pressure. You don't have to. We can just move on. All right, thank you. Now, later on, we're going to have an opportunity for our guests to introduce yourselves. And if you're comfortable with doing that, there's no pressure. But now we're going to move on to a prepared speech, which we do at every meeting. We have prepared speakers. Tonight, we are honored to have an inspirational keynote speaker. Willie Johnson is an author, a motivational consultant. He's Toastmaster District 43's Toastmaster of the Year. But more than that, he's known as the Ambassador of Potentiality. He's an active member in the National Speakers Association and a 20-year member of Toastmasters. He's joining us tonight from Arkansas, which was in the path of totality yesterday. So let's listen as he presents a 5 to 7 minute captivating speech entitled, "First Class People Always Fly First Class." Welcome, Toastmaster Johnson.
Truth and lie jumped into a swimming pool. After a while, lie got out and put on truth clothing. Now that is the end of the story. But the moral of the story is simply this. Wherever there is a dressed up lie, the butt naked truth ain't far behind. Now, I may be all dressed up tonight, but the information I'm about to share with you is nothing but the naked truth. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I want to transport you for just a few moments to an aircraft first class cabin. Now, in this space of travel, they do everything to make sure that your journey is very, very memorable. Now, let's draw parallel attention to the first class journey of your life, focusing on what it means to be a first class individual. Now, I will be brief, I will be good, and I will be gone as I speak to you on the topic, first class individuals always fly first class because coach is always overcrowded. Now, when you are a first class individual, the first thing you must do is mind your own business. Just like in an aircraft, the first thing you must do is you must mind your own business and take a seat in that first class cabin. But yes, Karen, the first thing we must do as individuals is mind our own business. Now, this is not the noise that we all talk about, but it's about taking responsibility for everything that happens in your life. So mind your own business. It's all about growth and fulfillment and being a positive individual. And you know, when I think about minding your own business, I think about my one-on-one conversation with this former truck driver. Now, this former truck driver only had a 7th grade education, but guess what? He had a master's degree in common sense. And for right now, I will just say his name is JB. Now, the interesting thing about it, JB passed away in 2006. But before he passed away, fellow Toastmasters and guests, he was one of Forbes' 400 richest people in the world. Not only was this guy rich, he was a billionaire. Now, you can just imagine, I'm talking to this billionaire and we're having this little chat back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then all of a sudden, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I hit him with a question that I'm sure each one of you would have asked. Now, I don't have time to go around and ask you what question that you may have, so I'll just go tell you what I asked. I said, JB, can you just give me one of the secrets to your success? And I know you're probably saying, Willie, come on now, billionaire, just one? Well, yeah, I didn't want to appear greedy. So I just asked him, could he just give me one of his secrets to success? He said, sure, mind your own business. With that, I took a step back, folded my arms and said, can you run that by me again? He said, sure, mind your own business. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, that is the first thing that we must do on this journey of flying first class in life. If you like that one, raise your hand. Oh yeah, I'm seeing the hands raised, because now that brings me to strategy number 2 to fly first class. Now, the second thing, fellow Toastmasters and guests, that you must do to fly first class is stay away from those itty-bitty, small-minded, negative thinking people. And you know, just like turbulence in the air, can make the plane rocky and unstable, likewise, a negative people can disrupt your journey to flying first class. Now, I'm not talking about just any old negative person. I'm talking about a negative person who some of you may know, who are so negative you can symbolically place them in a dark room and they can develop themselves. What you have to do is you have to get away from them in a flash so that you can become the empowered exposures that you were intended to be. So that's the second key to flying first class. Now, the third key is one that you would never expect, but this is an open house. So what is that third key? Well, the third key is becoming a good or great communicator. Oh, did you hear that? Becoming a good or great communicator. Let me look at you all in the face and say, I can say I see greatness within each and every one of you. And what you have to understand is communication is not only the key to your individual success, communication is the key to your organization success. And when you're flying in first class in that aircraft, communication is what gets you that glass of wine or what gets you that hot towel to wipe over your face. So there you have it, fellow Toastmasters and guests. You must mind your own business to fly first class. You must stay away from those itty bitty negative people to fly first class. And you must become a great communicator. There you have it again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And let me leave you with this. It is your responsibility to fly first class because coach is always overcrowded. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Willie. You know, I didn't know what to expect when I heard your speech title because I've never flown first class, but now I know what you mean. It's a state of mind, isn't it? So, you know, our distinguished Toastmaster, Willie, is an excellent, excellent speaker. And you might think to yourself, well, I could never reach that level. But regardless of where we start, each member has made progress on their journey. You know, in Toastmasters, we learn to organize and present our speeches in a way that is engaging, impactful, and with confidence. We have an education program called Pathways, and that guides us step by step building skills. And tonight, we just had one great speaker, but going forward in future meetings, you could expect to hear 2 or 3 prepared speeches at each meeting. Now, after the prepared speech portion of our meeting, the next thing we do is we practice impromptu speaking, which we call table topics. So today's table topics master is Toastmaster Kim Baird Cooley. So let's welcome her now. She can explain her role and then lead us in table topics.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to see you all here, my fellow Toastmasters, and all these beautiful guests. I don't see faces, but I see a lot of great names, and I'm so glad you're here. The purpose of Table Topics is extremely important. Table Topics is a long-standing Toastmasters tradition, and it helps members to organize and develop their ability to come up with their thoughts quickly, organize them, and respond to an impromptu question or topic. They're asked to do this in a time frame of 1 to 2 minutes. When they hit that 1 minute mark, our timer, President Jelena Barkler, will show them a green card. When they're in the safe zone of yellow, they'll get a yellow card. When they're approaching and at the limit of the time that they're supposed to be done talking and wrapping it up, that's when they get the red card, but they do have a grace period. And I'm very excited to ask some questions today. We've had some very exciting events happen recently that our table topics will be touching on. I will select from the existing members, and if anyone in the audience who's a guest is interested in participating, please unmute or raise your hand. Question number 1 will be for Artemis, because I'm so excited to see you. Would you rather eat 100 black licorice jelly beans or 10 raw carrots?
Can you repeat that again, Madam Table Topics Master?
Absolutely. Would you rather
I think
eat
it's 100 jelly beans or,
Yes.
okay, I got you. Thank you for that question. There was once a time when I just relished the thought of just penny candy. Just you could get the whole world when I was a child growing up, just penny candy and bubble gum and now and laters. And when you're young, you can get away with that. But as I got older, I started having toothaches and skin started breaking out, and I was interested in dating and zits everywhere. I decided to listen to my mother and just eat natural foods, eat right, pay attention to what she was saying. I never paid attention back then about, oh, y'all don't know nothing. You know, this was my uncle, and he was saying, you need to just, have some wheatgrass juice and grow some sprouts on the windowsills. And I'm okay just eating wheatgrass, and he ate wheatgrass mostly. Huh? Oh, well, that's it. I just decided to just start drinking wheatgrass and the whole 9 yards. And it's because you are what you eat. And I firmly believe that if you take care of your body, it will take care of you. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much. That was such a fun answer. And I learned about you and how you loved candy when you were growing up. My next question is for Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton. In astrology, solar eclipses signify the darkness of the ego and potential for spiritual rebirth. Tell us about a time when you pushed past ego.
Thank you for such an in-depth question. And there was a time in my life when I pushed past ego and stopped centering on myself. I found out later in life that when you are your whole world, that is not good. You are really supposed to think of ego, ego, as edging God out. And so I found out that is not what I want in my life. I want to make sure He is first and to think like He thinks and to know that He loves people and that I was supposed to come out from self and love His created beings, to know that everyone has worth and that we're supposed to get to know them, build relationships, let our light and life and love come forth and draw them into our circle. So as I was thinking about ego versus the eclipse where the darkness came, well, I was so happy when light reappeared. And thank you, Table Master, Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hamilton. What a beautiful answer. I knew I could rely on you for a beautiful answer to that question. Next, I'm going to ask a question to Toastmaster Alfred. Toastmaster Alfred, in the spirit of April Fools, which recently occurred, what is the best or worst prank you've played on someone?
Thank you, Toastmaster Kimberly. I value table topic sessions during these meetings, so I will be sure not to provide a perfunctory speech. Anyways, about the best April Fool's trick I've done, I have to admit, I did it to my oldest grandson. I know it was horrible of me. I'm supposed to be the grandmother and supposed to be a role model, but I couldn't help it. I hid in my room in the dark. And sadly, my husband helped me do this also. He called our grandson to our room and he asked him to go into the room to get him something. I'm hiding in the corner in the dark. And suddenly he comes in, just whispering, whistling and walking in there. You know how teenagers do. He walks in, and as soon as he turns on the light, I jumped up and he about fell over on the ground. And I felt so bad because he started crying. He was only 12 years old, so I had to apologize. But my husband and I thought this was really hilarious. After he stopped crying, of course. Thank you, Toastmasters, Kimberly.
Oh, thank you. That was so funny. What a laugh. Oh. My next question will be for Toastmaster Milton. Toastmaster Milton, if you could teleport anywhere for a spring break, where would you go?
Thank you for that question, Toastmaster Kim. If I could teleport anywhere, it would probably be to another planet. And I would have to pick Mars because I hear that planet is closest to what is on Earth. I would teleport to Mars so I could see if there's really water on Mars, if there are livable conditions. Just check it out for a few days and roam around, look at nature, and just enjoy Mars. So if I could teleport to anywhere, it would be Mars.
Toastmaster Milton, you should have joined us in the Table Topics contest because the question was about setting up a colony on Mars. Thank you for that inspired and creative answer. My next question will be for our Madam President, Jelena Verkler. Madam President Jelena Verkler. In the movie Twilight Eclipse, we're in the eclipse still, the protagonist had to make a difficult decision between two different paths in life. What's a choice you made that altered your life's path?
Thank you, as always, for your very stimulating questions, very relevant to what's currently going on. I am a fan of Twilight, so I do, I understand that decision that Bella had to make. Fortunately for me, I've never had to choose between two men in my life, but I have had some forks in the road where a decision I made had the opportunity to drastically change my circumstances. And one of those times was right after I graduated from college. I took a gap year and I worked full time. I traveled, tried to see kind of what everything was about. And then I thought, maybe I should go to grad school. But I had a lot of pushback from my parents. They said, you don't want to go into that kind of debt. I don't know if this is the market for that. I don't know if this is what you want to do. And so it was a huge momentous decision for me. But I ended up applying for grad school. I got in, I came to the University of Michigan, and obviously I've stayed here in the state. I met my husband and some of my best friends, and now I even work with some of them at Blue Cross. So it ended up being a really great decision for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam President. My next question will be for Toastmaster of the Day, Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird. If all scientific knowledge was erased from our collective consciousness, how would you explain the solar eclipse?
Madam Table Topics Master. Of course, as a science-loving person, I was watching all kinds of television broadcasts all about the eclipse coming up, and they talked about all the different mythological explanations of the past for the solar eclipse. But I'm going to give my very own. I'm not going to grab it from the Vikings or the ancient Greeks. I'm going to give my very own explanation. I'm going to say that the sun has its own personality. And much like our personalities, it's moody. And while most of the time it's naturally enjoying life in the sky and enjoying itself, sometimes a dark mood passes over it. Sometimes, it happened to me just this past week, a dark mood came over me and suddenly I just wasn't happy anymore. That mood, it came in, it edged in. I was feeling a little uncomfortable in the morning. By afternoon, you wouldn't want to be around me. And it was as if I was completely encapsulated with just a negative, bad mood. Just like Toastmaster Willie Johnson mentioned earlier, I had to get away from myself. I had to get away from that negativity. So I just took myself out for a walk with my dog, got out in that fresh air, let the dog run around in the schoolyard, and suddenly, just like that mood when that passed over the sun, the dark mood departed. And that's what happens to our sun, you non-science knowing people. That's what happens. The dark mood comes in, it stays for a while, but it moves on. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Well, we still have plenty of time for table topics according to our agenda, so I'm going to ask Distinguished Toastmaster Willie Johnson. Would you rather be followed everywhere you go by 8 ducklings who think that you are their mommy, or have 1 angry Canadian goose who lives in your yard?
Well, thank you for that question, Madam Table Topic Master. Such an intriguing question about the 8 versus 1. And I think I really would like to have the one, what you say, ugly, crazy duckling that's in my yard. Now, why would I do that? Or why would I say that? Because truthfully, I am known as America's #1 ambassador of potentiality. So I could work with that duck and get that duck to change their mind in some of everything that they do. So that's one of the things we have. People just need to understand they just need to chill. Don't just have a mood, but have a positive attitude. But a positive attitude won't let us do everything, but it will let us do more than a negative attitude will. And I think that if I had that one goose or geese or whatever he was in my yard with that negativity, I could change their mind. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much. Wow, we still have a couple minutes left on table topics. Do any of our wonderful guests want to give it a stab? Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. I'll give you an easy question, a fun question, in fact. Okay, that's okay. No pressure. Thank you. I return control back to Toastmaster of the Day, Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Baird Cooley. And thank you for everyone who volunteered to go ahead and do their table topic. So every meeting we have this practice, this impromptu speaking practice. And the more you do it, the better you become at it. It gets to be where you hear that question and immediately you start thinking, I need an introduction, a body, and a conclusion to this for a little 1 to 2 minute speech. And that will carry over to when you're in a meeting at work and somebody asks you your opinion on something that's being proposed. But now we're moving away from that. Oh, yes, Kimberly?
We have a volunteer
We do? Oh,
from our guests.
oh, excellent.
Yes. Tiana Washington would like to try.
Wonderful.
Yay, I'm so excited. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Ms. Washington, what is the most surprising thing you found while spring cleaning?
Had to find my unmute button. So thank you, Toastmaster, for that wonderful question. So one of the most the different things I've found during spring cleaning is one day I told my son, he's 16, I said, okay, go into your room and clean your room because it's a mess. Open the windows up because it smells like funk. Get the Febreze out, spray it down. Get the cleaning supplies and wash your windows, wash your baseboards, and things of that sort. So, of course, he asked me to come into his room and help him out because being a 16-year-old boy, it could be girls too, but being a 16-year-old boy, he needed help organize. He needed help figuring out what type of supplies he should use to clean the room, how he should use them, things like that. So I go into his room to help him out. And lo and behold, what did I find? In his room, I found about 5 plates. I found out where all my forks went to because he had 10 forks in his room. He also had dusty socks, and he also had bags from Wendy's and Culver's and Five Guys. So I helped him clean it up just a little bit. And so that was one of my most interesting experiences spring cleaning my house.
Great job. Oh, thank you so much for volunteering. And what a great first table topics. Wonderful.
Thank you, Toastmaster, for the question.
Boy, that room will never be the same. Poor guy.
Poor mom.
All right, well, that was excellent. I return control back to Karen Baird, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Tiana. That was really interesting. All right. Now that we've done our speaking portion of the meeting, we're going to move into another phase of the meeting called the evaluation phase. Now, the evaluator for today is going to be Toastmaster Artemis Mayat. So I will ask Artemis to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are in Toastmasters. Tell us about what the evaluation phase of the meeting is, and then go forward with the evaluation.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. And also, it's great to see all of our wonderful Toastmasters. And I thank you, and I'm so honored that Toastmaster Willie Johnson, who is one of my great mentors as well, could join us tonight. I'm just overjoyed. An evaluator is one who kind of tells you things like in a sandwich mode, what you've done good, what you could improve on, and how you could become better. The evaluation portion is 2 to 3 minutes. Madam Timer, could you please share the timing rules for the evaluation pillar or section. There are three pillars of the meeting. So this would be kind of the next pillar or third pillar of the meeting. Madam Timer, could you please explain the timing rules?
So for the evaluation portion of the meeting, which is one of the most important parts because that's how we get feedback and how we can improve, that is 2 to 3 minutes. So when Artemis has been speaking for 2 minutes, I will hold up the green card, 2 minutes and 30 seconds yellow, and 3 minutes red, and then she will have a 30-second grace period from there.
Thank you, Madam Timer. I'll share a little bit of history. I met our guest speaker, Willie J. Johnson, in Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi is where I was stationed at the time, and we would go to all of the contests, whether they were in Arkansas or wherever they were, Arkansas, and I met him there, and he was always an active member or an officer in many of the clubs that I participated in. So I got a chance to meet him several times in person, and he's been just very helpful to each and every person that he's come across. And I've never seen a time that he hasn't laughed or been proactive. So I thank you for that. And that's how I met him, just being in our Toastmaster clubs throughout the country as well, as far as Zoom and in person. I will start my evaluation. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Think about it every day. And that's what comes to mind when I listen to your speech, Toastmaster Willie Johnson, that when you get finished talking, it's kind of like I have the potential. You live up to that name, Ambassador of Potentiality, because it is one of taking something that you already have and then you just make it something grand and amazing, which is the title of one of your books too. So we all, each and every one of us have that potential, and that's what you are excel at instilling in each one of us, is that we have potential to be better or great. I love the beard. I never seen the beard before, but I love the beard. I love your sweater. It all just screams out distinguished. So I love the fact that you transported us. You said, let me transport you for just a moment. And with that, you're painting a picture and you're helping us to visualize what you're about to talk about, your journey, which becomes our journey. And the first class individual, you explain what that is. First class individual, because you said it's always good to fly first class because coach, this is crucial, is always overcrowded. And that is true. Next, what threw me off was mind your own business. Mind your own business. But that's true though. I think I would have to agree with that. If you're minding your business, which is a 24/7 job. So if you mind your business and you tend your own, then you can help somebody. And like on the airplane, you get your mask out and then you can help someone else along the way. Take responsibility for your life first. I like the growth and the fulfillment and just being positive and being proactive are some of the keys that you said to flying first class. You shared an experience with, what was it, JD, that he was a billionaire and he gave you a secret and you asked for one secret, which of course they're going to tell you more than one. I like the fact that you took us, you shared personal experiences. In your, if I can share this, your purpose of the project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with the unfamiliar audience, and you did that. So I would like to say, I love the dark room. You said the dark room and to develop ourselves. I think that you had good communication with each and every one of us. You said the key is not only to your own success, but for everyone to succeed. So I really think that you excelled on eye contact, engaging with the audience. It says here that you you were comfortable with the audience as well. You engaged us. You talked about an unpredictable topic, and you demonstrate awareness of audience engagement. And I loved your physical gestures as well. So with me, only thing that I would think of to add is maybe your scenery at some airplanes or something where we know what it's like to kind of not be in the coach, or just some sort of scenery that would kind of really take us there. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'm a little nervous today for some reason. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Matt. Now, one thing that surprised me about Toastmasters, and I've been a member for 15 years, is that it taught me how to give feedback with a win-win approach. I always thought that giving feedback or having an evaluation at work was mostly just going to be somebody criticizing and telling me everything that I did wrong. But that's not what we do in the Toastmaster meeting. So I've learned how to offer observations and suggestions. And not only have I learned it to apply it in Toastmaster meetings, but I'm able to apply that everywhere I go. I've done that with my doctors, with my manager, with coworkers. But I'm able to give feedback in a way that's received as positive. So I feel that it's taught me to be more of a coach than a critic. Now, in the evaluation phase of our meeting, we typically would ask for a report from an counter, grammarian, and timer. The counter would tell us how many times we used filler words. The grammarian would tell us if we used the word of the day and if we had any excellent or poor uses of English grammar. And the timer would give us a report on how long each person spoke. We're going to, but you're aware of that now, that we would do that. But we're going to skip that today because I really want to have enough time for our guests to introduce themselves, ask questions, make any comments or observations of what we've seen tonight. So I'd like to open up the floor. If there's any guests who have questions or comments, please unmute yourself, come on camera if you like, and let's get the questions flowing. So I'm opening it up. Who would like to be the first person? Laretha.
Good evening, everyone. It is great to actually be here with you all. I love all the answers to the impromptu questions, and that is definitely something that I would like to work on, is the impromptu question. I can prepare a speech, definitely, but being asked the question on the fly sometimes can be very challenging. So I look forward to being with you all and learning more from you.
Oh, excellent, excellent. You know, impromptu questions are a very, very important part of speaking. And we have members who just focus on their impromptu speaking skills. We have our prepared speech, of course, education program, but it's all about the member and what they're here, what kind of skills they're here to build. Is there any other comments or questions? I'm opening it up. You can ask anything you like. If I don't hear any questions, I'll start making some questions up. All right, Tiana, did you have something?
Tiana, I have a quick question. Yes. So how often does Toastmasters meet?
Our club meets twice a month. So we meet on the second and fourth Tuesday at 6 o'clock. We typically we plan to meet until 7:15. If our meeting sometimes will run over, if we have a little bit of extra speakers, and we never fill in extra time on our meeting. If we're done with our agenda, then we're done. because we always want to make every minute that you're in the Toastmaster Club count for something. And we never want it to be a waste of time for anybody. So that, I hope that answers your question. Does
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, that answers the question. And so then just a second ago, Laretha was asking about or talking about the different speeches she liked to learn, like the impromptu speaking. Sounds like she's pretty good with just doing writing out a speech and presenting.
Mhm.
So then are there different subject matters for each meeting? Like, okay, this week we're going to do impromptu. Next go around, we're going to do a standard written speech. And then if so, well, I understand what impromptu would be because you just give an impromptu speech based on the topic, the way Toastmaster gave us the different topics to speak on. So then for a written speech, is there a topic given? And then okay, you have to write a topic on, crazy Dalmatian dogs. And so you find out about that before you do the actual speech, and you get a chance to write it out and then present.
The way we do that is at every meeting, we have prepared speeches, impromptu speeches, and evaluations. For impromptu speeches, somebody takes a turn at being the topics master, so they would prepare the questions. But for the prepared speeches, we don't give you the topics. What we have is the Pathways Education Program. So the members would go into the education program. There are 15 separate projects in an educational pathway. So for instance, I'm on an educational pathway for effective coaching. So I've got 15 different projects that relates to building that skill. One of the projects might be understanding my coaching style. Another project might be learning to communicate with different types of audiences. So for each speech project, you have a different skill that you're building, but you pick your own topic. So for an example, a person might be doing a speech and they're learning to use gestures and facial expressions, but their topic might be going on a river raft trip, or some other topic where they would be able to use a lot of gestures and facial expressions. You pick your own topic, but the program tells you what to focus on and what skill you're trying to build.
I would also say that generally your first speech will be an icebreaker speech, which is going to help us get to know you. So just speaking a little bit about you, what's important to you, what's made you who you are. That's probably the first speech that you would be giving.
And you know that there are a few speeches. For instance, there's always a speech understanding your communication style, where you have to read about different communication styles and come to an understanding of how you communicate. So that would be an example of a speech where the project does give you the topic, but for the most part, you pick your own.
Toastmaster Bear, I'd also like to interject that coaching is a big part of Metro Masters. I have been a member for a year, and when I did my icebreaker, Toastmaster Bear coached me and gave me tips. When we were finished and I presented it, it was a hit. That's all I'm going to say. You're not by yourself in doing what you have to do.
Hello? Yeah.
I see Jing Jing is coming on camera. Jing
Hello,
Jing,
everyone.
do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I do. Well, I saw your flyer on the open house. I said, oh, what a coincidence. My club is actually hosting an open house next week. This is my perfect opportunity to come and learn how you guys are hosting your open house. And I do have a question. So we are also a corporate club, and all our members are busy broadcast employees. I feel it's not appropriate to assign a schedule to everyone. Your turn to speak next week, your turn to speak next month. So how do you motivate your members to give speech, squeeze out time out of their busy corporate schedule?
That's a good question. What we normally do at the end of our meeting, we'll ask people what roles they want to fill for the next meeting. And we'll try to get people to agree, people to volunteer to be speakers for the next meeting. Now, We have something coming up over the next few months where we're going to be doing a lot of educational and motivational type speeches. And so we'll be encouraging all the new members to make progress and all the current members to make progress on their pathways. So that's something that we always want to keep an eye on, is making progress.
Does your member, is every new member assigned a mentor when they first join the club, or maybe a more seasoned member out of your club, and they meet regularly?
We do that on more of an informal basis, but we do yes, we do that. But it's not so much that they are assigned a specific person that they only talk to one person, but we have our seasoned members will reach out and mentor, just like Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton mentioned when she first started, and when Toastmaster Valerie Milton started. I said, I would like to be your mentor and help you get started with your first few projects and get you moving forward. And I know that Toastmaster Artemis, that she was reaching out to Toastmaster Verkler quite a bit when she first started. And that's what we do. We are here to help each other grow.
Wonderful. Thank you. If you don't mind, I will distribute our flyer to you as well. I hope some of you will join us next week. Yes, and I will be attending your open house meeting as well. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Jing Jing's a member of Skill Masters, which is another Toastmaster club associated with Blue Cross. All right. Are there any more questions? Any more questions or comments? All right, well, I want to say that tonight's meeting, we tried to cover all the typical things that you would see at a Toastmaster meeting, but we also wanted to give you some ideas on what the benefits are of becoming a Toastmaster, because we're hoping that with tonight's experience, that you can see that Toastmasters could benefit each person. You know, where else can you get the confidence, the practice, the feedback, the encouragement in a safe environment? Now, I want to tell you some things that are coming up with Metro Masters in the immediate future and talk about how you might be part of that. So over the next 5 meetings, which will actually take us through to the end of June, we have accomplished guest keynote speakers for each meeting. So these are award-winning, certified, inspirational speakers, and we've invited them to give a boost to you and to us as we move along on a Toastmaster journey. And joining our club is very easy. You would submit an application and pay a $60 dues, and the dues are forwarded directly to Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International also requires a $20 new member fee, but as an open house incentive, Metro Masters will pay the new member fee for people who join as a result of the open house. So once you submit that application and pay those dues, you will have your membership activated for 6 months. And during that time, you'll have access to all the educational materials. You'll be participating in club meetings, and you'll have us to help you along the way. Now, thanks to the generosity of our guest speaker, Willie Johnson, and by the way, his contact information is in the chat. Thanks to Willie Johnson for the first 2 people who submit their application and dues, we have a bonus. We have his 2 books. It's Never Too Late to Live Up to Your Potential and Be Amazing: Insights on How to Create a Larger Vision for Your Life. So with the first 2 people who would be submitting their application and dues to join our club, they will be receiving these signed copies of his book. So with that, I hope that you feel inspired. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask. If you are so excited that you want to join today,
please stay after and we'll get you signed up. I'm going to put the membership application into the chat. And now I'd like to pass the virtual microphone over to our esteemed president, Jelena Verkler, for her closing comments.
Yes, I just want to thank all of you for joining us here today. I hope that you were able to see the value of what Toastmasters might be able to offer you. We want to thank you so much for your questions and comments. If you see the benefit of Toastmasters, we would implore you to take that next step and submit your application. And we wanted to leave you with this quote by Roy T. Bennett. Believe in yourself. You are braver than you think, more talented than you know, and more capable than you can imagine. So thank you for attending our open house meeting. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Our contact information and website is at the bottom of the agenda. If you haven't already, please put your contact information in the chat box. If you'd like to submit your application and payment tonight, you can stay on the Zoom and we'll process it for you. And then we will also invite you all to our next meeting on April 23rd using the same Zoom link that we used today. And with that, our meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who came. And if you are staying on because you want more information, please unmute. If you want to pick up the application or download the agenda off of the chat, but those have been posted there for your convenience.
Toastmaster Johnson? Toastmaster Johnson? Hello?
Yes.
I just had a quick question for you. What made you decide to grow a beard? I've never seen you with a beard before.
It's called being creative.
Oh, being creative. Okay.
I don't have anything better to do now.
Yeah. Do you mind? I was trying. How do I get a picture? We got to get a picture. Yeah, I forgot to get a picture. Well, hopefully someone has a picture of you.
Yeah, all right. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
we-
so much.
Yeah, thank
Karen,
you.
if you have more than 2 people sign up, let me know. I have some more books.
Oh, okay, great.
Awesome.
Great, thank you. Tatiana, and I see there's somebody else, E139, 139. And another person, I'm not sure if this is still Jing Jing or somebody else with the last name Jing. So did you stay on because you have some questions or want to enroll tonight? All right, I don't want to, okay, thanks. All right, Toastmaster Club members, I'm very, very happy with what we did tonight. I think we all did a good job of explaining what the club does. And I was happy to see the amount of people who came and visited us tonight. Oh, I forgot to mention, Willie, that Willie's coming back. Willie will be coming back in about a month and a half, and he'll give us another wonderful keynote speech. So I know our club loves your speaking, Willie, so appreciate very much. And I'll be contacting you again outside of club meeting.
Well, Jelena told me she didn't want me to come back.
She did. Oh, so that's only because she wants you here in person. Oh, you know what? Let me turn off the recording.